we woke up and it actually happened. It was too crazy to have even been a dream.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I hope you went to church this morning. I hope, no matter how late you stayed up last night, that you got on your hands and knees today and thanked somebody for what happened last night, for the miracle that occurred between Houston and Duke, down by 6 with 34 seconds remaining in this game. And Houston finds a way to win it. I hope you thanked somebody in the ether, whatever you might believe. Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this show your first listen every single day. Houston got it done against Duke. I wanted to do another recap show now that we're awake and alive and the Cougars are in the national championship, where I talk a little more in depth about this game, because yesterday my reaction was just and I went back and listened to that, and I was just high on life in that moment, and only life, BYU fans, I promise. That was the only thing I was high on. This was stunning. I want to once again reiterate, too, my backdrop's kind of dormant. I'm back home planning those services for my grandmother. Thank you all for the outpouring of support over the last few days. It's been wonderful. And then to see Houston do this was just a really good pick-me-up. Houston doing it against... Can we be honest with ourselves here? I'm going to give you some stats on that last 5 minutes that helped Houston win this. I think Duke is the second best team in the country. I would have said pregame Duke might be the best team in college basketball. I think if you watch the game and someone came up to you and said, hey, Duke is the best team in America, you'd be like, no, it's Houston. But also, I understand where they're coming from. That was a very, very good basketball team. They were just too young. They were too youthful. Houston, too old. This is a better basketball program. This is a deeper, more mature basketball unit that Houston brought out there. Again, the tweet is true. Houston is 2 hoopers and 3 guys that could start for the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is the most physical team in the country, and Duke, at the end of the game, could not handle the pressure that Houston put on the Blue Devils. And that is all the credit in the world to how Kelvin Sampson conducts his program. For Duke, late in this game, Duke 31% shooting. 31% shooting in the final 5 minutes. Duke committed 3 crucial turnovers in those final 5 minutes. Houston out-rebounded Duke 8-3 in that span, including pivotal offensive boards, and Houston shooting 50%, 4 of 8 in those final 5. Duke shooting 14.3%, 1 of 7. Houston winning this game should probably not have happened. They weren't the better team for 65-70% of the contest, but I felt like the other 30%, especially when Uzan was in, you saw Houston be the more physical team. You saw Houston have an off night offensively. Duke had very good defense, but I don't think you could just chalk this up to, Houston shot the way they usually shoot, and Duke was the better team. No, I thought Houston was overall on an off night with the basketball in hand offensively. Though Duke's defense was good, Houston's typical shooting night would have them win this game by 5, 6, 7, or going away, or you know they will in the end. Instead, at 33 seconds, I'm screaming on my TV saying, Kelvin Sampson, please, for the life of you, just allow your players to foul. Drag this thing out. There's a minute plus to go. Start fouling now. Give yourself a shot. Instead, he says, nope, we're going to play defense. Tugler gets a block. Emmanuel Sharp the rebound. Then the clock's ticking again, and I'm screaming, someone shoot the ball. Someone shoot the ball. And Emmanuel Sharp takes the shot, the three-pointer, that puts you back within 3. And if Uzan's not in that moment, if Uzan is still hurt, then you're looking at a Houston team right there that is probably not in this spot. But he I don't want to say sucks it up. I want to say something like a little more that has some more oomph than that. He fights through immeasurable pain. You like that? I could be a novelist. Comes back in, has the assist that is the catalyst to the three-pointer for Sharp that with 30 seconds to go puts you within 3. But it's still not going to happen. Right? Can you and I have a conversation here for a second? If this happens, okay, on a Tuesday when Houston goes on the road against Arizona, or let's say your favorite team is UCF or BYU or Baylor, and they're playing a conference game on a Saturday at Texas Tech, at home against TCU, and this game happens, you're going, that was improbable. There's no way that will ever happen again. How on earth did we win that game down 6 with 33 seconds to go? But imagine that thing. That outlier where you go, remember that game in 2021 on the third week of the regular season in conference play when we won that game on a miracle? Like, yeah, I do remember that game. It wasn't that consequential because come to find out, it was the third week of conference play and there was plenty of basketball after that. This was in front of God and everyone. All of America was watching. Everyone had their eyes. You just did this. Houston just did this. Kelvin Sampson just orchestrated this with the country watching. One of the most important people in the country watching that, Jim Nantz, who was tearing up at the end of this game, couldn't believe that Houston's in the national championship. Seeing the dream, Hakeem Olajuwon, jump up and down and get excited about this game too, was impeccable. But as you go back to that closing few minutes of this game, the James turnover, the Wilson steal, and the Wilson missed three-pointer. Now it's 67-64, and the turnover as the ball's bouncing around, you're like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. After there's a technical and you fouled Flagg in the corner, and well, did Houston need to be that physical there at the end? You're just, I'm a little ticked off at the way that Houston did some stupid stuff at the end, from the technical again to fouling Flagg in the corner. But there's the steal, Tugler the putback, and you're thinking, oh no, now it's real. And somehow you have the beautiful, wonderful privilege of fouling Tyrese Proctor, who sucks at doing the free throws thing. Goes to the line, misses the first dang one. And because the officials, who I will give some credit, I think they missed 3 or 4 that you rewatch the replay, and you're thinking that was very obvious that they got it very wrong. But because they didn't call this game too tight, Duke is in the bonus, but not the double bonus. Open end of a 1-and-1. Proctor misses it. Juwan Roberts rebound. Foul on Cooper Flagg. And there's Juwan Roberts knocking down free throws to, in the span of like 15 seconds, take this from a 6-point Houston deficit to a 1-point Houston lead. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen in college basketball. We don't do that. That defies. You were down by 14 earlier to maybe the number 1 team in the country. To a historic team. What's the whole KenPom deal where if you rank these 4 teams, these final 4 teams in KenPom, they're in the top 10 in college basketball over the last 20 years, beating out multiple national champions. This is the best season that the top of basketball has ever seen. Ever seen. And now Houston is going to the national championship because they just beat a Duke team that, again, could arguably be the number 1 team in college basketball. But they're not. You know why? Houston exists. They're older. They're more seasoned. They're better. And they won. And if Uzan is healthy for a larger part of this game, Houston wins by more. They only shot 38%. 45% from 3 is pretty darn good. I'll give it to them. Turned the ball over 9 times. Out-rebounded Duke 42-31. Played a pretty good basketball game. Outside of that field goal shooting percentage, played a pretty good basketball game. And if you watch this, I think you would agree to an extent that overall Houston was the better school. That 30% of the game, they were the better school when they were healthy and had their 5 on the floor. Did some stupid stuff? No doubt. Rolled some balls off their knee and into the stands for sure. Tugler's sideburns deserved a flagrant 2. Yes, I agree. But they were the better team. And in the end, better team won. Houston's going to the national championship. Houston's going to the national championship. We all get to root for you, too. I'm going to do a show tomorrow. Hopefully with Parker Ainsworth, see what his schedule looks like today. I'm going to do a show tomorrow where we talk about just how cool it is. You have the entire Big 12 rooting for you. Hopefully for you, the Houston Cougar fans, it's a pretty cool deal. Because I can tell you what, for me, hosting Locked On Big 12, hosting Locked On Big 12, very neat that we have you in our conference, representing our conference in the national championship. Today's show is brought to you by Monarch Money. Monarch Money is great for me. I'm 24. I don't really know how to do the money thing. So if I'm wondering where all of my money went, probably to food delivery. Monarch Money actually is my personal CFO now and helps me not do that. Now, I'm a little more smart with my finances because complete financial command centers with Monarch Money are the key to building wealth and managing that wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized how much I was spending on really silly stuff. So now that it's in my face and I see it, I don't do it anymore. It's like an accountability tool. Managing money with your partner is also smoother than ever. You can share your personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LockedOnCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LockedOnCollege for half off your first year with Monarch Money. If you're alive right now and you watch college basketball, congrats to you, man, for getting to see whatever that was last night. If you're a Big 12 fan, if you're a Houston fan, yeah. Welcome to the show, buddy. This rocks. This has been and always will be. If you hit subscribe, get to keep my job locked on. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.